Hello, welcome back to another episode. I want to talk through something that I stumbled across on LinkedIn the other day, and I am not a scientist. Biology was not my thing. I was a math geek. So I cannot vouch for the accuracy of what I'm about to share, but I thought it was interesting nonetheless. And I think that it really does bring up a lot of good questions, good thoughts around this topic. So I'm going to just share this for anybody listening. If you can debunk this theory, feel free to. I would love to actually know the science behind it, supporting or against this next statement. But anyways, without further ado, I want to share what I read. So, did you ever think what will happen if we grow a shark in a fish tank? Will it still grow the same size? Nope, it's not like that at all. A shark will grow not more than 8 inches. If you put it into a tank, the same shark will grow 8 feet in the ocean. The shark will never outgrow its environment, and the same is true about you. Our growth and progress of life depends upon our environment and our surroundings. So again, while I'm not sure if I don't want to do this experiment because I don't have a desire to own a shark or to torture a shark, if that's what this experiment would be doing. But I think that just reflecting upon our environment and our surroundings and how that can either promote our own growth or inhibit our growth is a really, really key thing. And that's what we wanted to talk about today. So typically, in my true Sarah fashion, I always throw Lisa under the bus as a first stop. She's always sitting in the
Right?
corner. Yeah, she's always like right front and center. I'm like staring at her as I'm talking. But this time I want to switch things up and give Kelly, who's on the bottom right now of my screen, give her the opportunity to chime in on this. And what's coming up for you when you think about this topic, about our growth and progress in life in general, and how our environment plays a role in that?
I mean, the first word that came to mind listening to you share it was truth. I think for me, your environment and the people you're around can make or break you. And some people in our life, are there because they have to be. Maybe it's family or a neighbor or, things that we don't have complete control over, but others, it's friends and coworkers and, depending on how close, in proximity they are, but it really, it's so true. But knowing that you have that control over who you allow in your life and the environment you want to create. I know when I was going through infertility, no one purposefully, created hardships for me or wanted me to be sad or, wanted to discourage me or send me down spiraling by something that they were trying to suggest. But it was hard to be in an environment of moms with 2, 3 kiddos or being invited to the next baby shower or just going to play dates and I only have one and I'm going through all these struggles. And also it kind of hit me as well, like social media, that's extremely toxic and can really send you into oblivion if you're not careful of how much you let in. And I think that has a lot to do with just the environment that you are creating for yourself and for your future. You don't have to do what everybody else is doing. You don't have to go to the baby shower. You don't have to sit next to that same mom at the play date who, keeps offering her best of advice that just isn't serving you at the moment in the season that you're in. And that prohibits growth when you take on that heaviness from the environment that you're around or the people that you're with or the things that you're viewing. I can definitely see the analogy there, Sarah. Like we said, we're not scientists. We don't know. We're just kind of using the idea and the reference of shrinking your world and your environment and how that can limit your growth. And it does, because you get stuck. You get stuck in the negativity. You get, stuck in that tornado spiral that just isn't serving you. And it's heavy. It's
Right.
yuck. So when you have a bigger pond, a bigger ocean with new ideas and fresh, just people who are serving you the way you want it to be served and vice versa. Like, possibilities are endless. You can grow as big as you want, but when you're confined, it is hard to maneuver through those relationships and people and things. And yeah, I prefer a much bigger ocean. It is much nicer out here. Lisa, join me out here in the
Right?
ocean
I'm
of miles
swimming
and
right up
miles
to
of growth.
you. Exactly. Well, let's just look at it logically, okay? So maybe there's some debate, but you're never going to have an 8-foot shark in your fish tank. Like, that's impossible, right? Like, logically, that's impossible. So we know kind of the answer, right? It won't grow to 8 feet if it's stuck in a 3-foot tank, period. But I think more than that, it's the environment. Like, okay, so that shark's in there and there is only so much water in that tank. We know science-wise, and I'm not a science geek by any stretch, but I know that, you know, when I hop in the bathtub, the water rises, right? Like, if as opposed to a 2-year-old doesn't cause the water to rise as much. So the space that that shark has gets smaller as it grows, right? The water rises, it's taking up more mass within the tank. And there has to be some movement. There has to be some movement. So the water goes up and eventually the water would go out. Like, logically, that's just where my brain is going, right? So picture us in a tank, and we want to grow. We want to grow, but yet our growth affects everything else around us. It affects the amount of water, it affects the space for, you know, ideas and thoughts. It's limited. And when you're in the ocean, you get to decide if you want to swim over here next to the coral, if you want to go out into the deep where the big guys are swimming, or you want to, kind of rest over here next to a little cove or a cave, right?
It's
Like
funny,
you get,
Lisa, that you say that, because as you were talking, I was thinking of the movie from Disney, Finding Nemo, and how he was
yeah,
stuck in his own world where his dad was trying to keep him safe and, don't go beyond the reef because it's the big blue unknown. And so you literally just hit right on it, because you have to choose. You have to choose if you want to be safe here in your little anemone. Is that
There's
how he
actually
says it? They
it's
actually
actually
can't
like
say anemone.
I love
Or the
that.
big blue, you got to choose to go out there, like where you don't know what's there to grow and, to experience those new things. But it's
It's
funny.
actually like in Moana too. I feel like there's a lot of parallels Disney movies, like getting at this
Uh-huh.
opportunity to grow once you actually go beyond what
Hmm.
where you are at the moment. So in
right.
Moana, it
Yes.
was
And
at the
that
reef
and
as
that
well.
idea
Right.
of
Or the Little
find
Mermaid. The Little Mermaid too. Like, whole different
exactly.
world for her.
Can we just have a Disney podcast? We'll just talk about all the
Love
movies.
it.
Yes.
Right? I
That's
mean,
so
there
funny that you
are
say that. I did my homecoming speech. That reminded me too. I picked different Disney movies and friendships along the way, and how they were different, and how they each had their own special place as we were going through elementary school, middle school, and high school. And that's what we should totally hit
Yeah.
on each Disney movie and
I
how
definitely
they.
want to learn more about this, Kelly, about
Yes,
what you shared during your speech.
it was
But
pretty
we
cool.
totally went on a tangent from
I
Lisa's point.
know. Disney
She was
movies.
she was about
I'm
to get to
I'll
like
reel
the
you back
whole
in. Reel you
okay,
back
okay,
in.
let's go, Lisa. Get us back on
Well,
track.
here's the thing that I was thinking about in this analogy is our comfort zone, the fish tank per se, it's comfortable. It's safe. It's what we know. It's familiar, but it hinders growth. and take you to the ocean if you want to go to the ocean, and you hide in your cave with your same, five familiar fish that you love to hang out with. And there's a whole world out there, but you're scared. You're afraid to, step out into the unknown, so to speak, because that requires growth. That requires facing the unknown, fears, all the things. We get so used to our comfort zone that we're just like, we're fine here. I'm just gonna hang out here, but it limits our growth. And so I guess I just want to encourage our listeners to just be open to thinking bigger, because I think we in ourselves keep ourselves in the fish tank. Our thoughts, our beliefs, our concepts of our self, our worth, our our identity, it keeps us in the fish tank. And what if you were made for more? What if there's a world out there waiting for you to leave the safe fish tank and take courage and step into growth, step into possibility? Like, what if?
Yeah, because I think the world is waiting for you to show us your skills and your talents, and you already know your purpose. God gave you one when you were born, and you're just limiting yourself to this tiny little safe space, whether it was something in your childhood, or maybe it was a teacher that held you back, or
You
maybe you
settle,
didn't
right?
you didn't get into the college you wanted. Maybe you got that college degree and now you're not even using it, and then you just feel like, I've tried all these things, nothing's working, nothing's what I thought it would be. But there is more. You are made for more. And that jumping out of that fish tank, I even thought of Aladdin when they're going on the carpet ride, the whole new world. Like Lisa literally said that. And I just keep going from all these, like, there's reasons that those movies were made to inspire the kiddos to think a little bit more outside the box. And I think as adults, we forget. We forget how to do that, because it is, Lisa, we're in this little tank and this is what we know and it's safe. Well, I don't want to write a book. That means I might have to take this class to learn how. And I don't want to go, start being a yoga instructor, because then, how long is that going to take to get clients? Or, what if I did? Stop. Just, if it is on your heart and it fills you up and it excites you, then go do it. Go swim beyond the comfort of the reef and really start to dive in what makes you you. And people around you are just gonna be in awe of the things that you are doing. And that, my friends, is just the purpose, is to create this environment for yourself in this life and give it back to others. And it's not in the
And to
reef.
serve, right? We're here on this planet to serve. So I want to take that analogy and twist it a smidge, because let's say that someone gets brave and they're like, this just keeps coming up when I'm getting quiet, this mission, this dream, this passion, and I'm stepping out. Okay, I'm taking courage. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go off the safe zone and start figuring out what this big waters feel like and navigate new thoughts, beliefs, um, uh, just step out into the unknown, so to speak. But then I think it's so important to be aware. I think back to, like, the direct sales company that I'm a part of, and the founders, when they stepped out into that big ocean and said, we're going to create a company with aloe based skincare products because we not only want to help people with their skin, but we want to give people the opportunity to make an income that can fuel their dreams on their schedule, on their time. But what happened is when they stepped out, they were swimming over here and they ran into the negative Nancy's, the doubting Thomases, the jellyfish that's got the stingers, right? It's like the danger zones of being brave. And so I just want to like entertain this analogy a little bit because that ocean is ginormous and it's not safe on every corner, right? You've got those that are predators that want to eat you um, in this analogy. Putting up boundaries, knowing knowing what cove or what school of fish to hang out in is so stinking important.
I love that you came back to this point because I actually feel like it relates to what Kelly started off with as well, with how you can choose and adjust your environment and what you're taking in, what you're allowing in, and it helps significantly navigate some of those challenges as well. So, for example, Kelly brought up her infertility and how like she might choose to like skip the baby shower because you need to protect yourself. And that is really like you, your environment is impacting you in a great way, but you have the decision to remove yourself in that case. um, Another thing that for me, when I had like a very difficult pregnancy, the internet and like the Facebook pages and all the things I had to stay away from, but I had my sister be my person. She was my filter. So she would like, I'd be like, this is what's coming up. Can you do a search for me? And she would search and send me the things that she found. So she had some negative information, but I was filtered through because I was making a conscious decision to only allow in what was going to help me get through this period, because there's a lot of negative things and you will find whatever you're looking for on the internet, not all of which is true, which is why I'm not sure if a shark actually will only grow to 8 inches, because who knows, the internet never lies, right? But like it's just all comes back to how this big ocean, these environments, like it could be scary, you could run into challenges, but you do have control over what you allow in. And it's important for you to actually just be aware of that as well. So as you're trying to explore different opportunities and go different directions with whatever you're working on, being aware that these challenges will exist and adjusting accordingly is really, really important.
Yeah, and I think it's so important to hang out with fish that are bigger than you so that you can learn from them, right? We
That's why I'm here with
often
you guys.
Oh,
Really,
come now,
I'm
girl.
learning every day. I'm learning being with
Always.
you.
I mean, it's like iron sharpening iron, and if we're playing with, we're hanging around the minnows that are just worried about the next, protecting themselves from getting eaten, and so they're always on the defensive or they're always feeling fearful. If I'm surrounding myself with those type of people, like I'm not going to grow, I'm not going to see the possibilities. That's why I think I enjoyed direct sales so much, because you see people that are, when I first started, like I was like, yeah, right, earn a trip or make a significant income. I didn't have the belief, but I
Mhm.
surrounded myself with people that had done it, had earned a trip, had, paid off their car loan, had accomplished, had the money from their direct sales business to do in vitro and like pursue the things that were at the heart of what was important to them.
Mhm.
But if I hadn't stepped into that arena or manage my mind going, yeah, that's good for her, but that'll never happen to me. That's also that imposter syndrome kind of sneaking in, but it's hanging out with people that are a couple steps ahead of you.
I think that's so
That's
important because you don't want to be scared because you're going to get to a point, right? And when you're out there in that big ocean, there are going to be even bigger, meaner sharks, or you're going to get to what is it on Nemo? And now I'm stuck on that movie where Nemo runs into, or Marlin, the dad, runs into the turtles, and they're on that wave of.
I
Oh,
love
it's the
that part.
Australian something or other. So
I don't know
anyways,
what
it's
it's
a
called,
fun,
but yeah.
I know, shoot, it's dang it, I can't remember. But anyways, so he gets into this space with the turtles, and he's like freaking out because this isn't what he, thought his way to go find Nemo was going to take him. But then he started like enjoying being with the turtles, and they were so cool, and cowabunga, and like saying all these fun things, and that's what it's about. But you got to
The
stay on the
EAC.
right. Yeah,
Sorry.
yes. There, you Googled it, cheater.
East Australian Current. Sorry.
Yes.
That's one of my favorite scenes. So the fact that I couldn't remember it, but yeah, sorry.
So good.
Here I go.
But
Here I go, interrupting a really like nicely put together thought with just
that was not
Disney facts.
It's all good.
So funny. But that's it. That's like when you jump into this new goal that you might have, or something you want to take on in your life that really lights you up. Just know that those currents are going to change. There's going to be the naysayers, but just to stay on course and to stay true to yourself and what you really, really want, because those hiccups are only going to teach you all the things that you need to learn to get you to the place where you're supposed to be, to impact the people along the way. Because this is where I kind of look back. You don't know what you're doing in life until you look back, and then all the dots have started to connect. You're like, man, because I took this step, because I joined a network marketing team and company, because then I started to grow and I started to put myself in a place where I was learning, from people who were accomplishing so much. And then we all three of us found each other. And we say this so many times. I feel like every third episode, we kind of reflect back on this because we took the chances. We knew there was going to be roadblocks. We knew maybe there'd be people we'd meet along the way that we didn't gel with, but it didn't matter because we were still moving forward. We still wanted our self-growth. And I think that's what I'd like to, share too with our listeners. Like, keep going. It's okay if you have a bad day. It's okay to sit in the, oh my gosh, that didn't work, or I didn't make a sale, or I'm struggling writing this chapter in my book, or, oh, that was a horrible workout session. I, had zero energy. No, keep going. The next day, it's worth it. And just know what the end goal is. And that's just your whole journey in life, because it's spectacular if you jump out there, but you got to get out of that little fish tank that the 8-foot shark that you were born to be cannot see. The genie, see all this power in this little bitty lamp, and he does no good until he's out of the lamp and, really empowering all the gifts that he has. So I think this was just an incredible story analogy, Sarah, that you brought for us today. It was so cool to dive in. Thank you so much. This was really fun. And all the Disney.
Yes, so fun. So fun. And here is the cool thing is that you can choose the ocean and you can choose the school of fish. And we hope that you choose our Wake Up and Dream online Facebook group to swim in, to hang out with us, to rub elbows, to ask questions, to feel encouraged, to be a part of something bigger than yourselves, and hang out with other women that want more. And so we encourage you to do that. Check out the show notes for all of that, and of course, connect with us. We are on Instagram, we are on YouTube. So reach out, connect, because this is our desire, is to help you get out of your fish tank and start swimming in that ocean that is waiting for you. So until next time, wake up and dream.